So the war with Iran got crazier today because Iran said that the US has broken the ceasefire, but the US said no. But what is the actual story? Well, I'll tell you here. Because apparently there was a cargo ship called Tosca, and that ship was going from China to Iran, and it's a big ship, okay? It's like 900 feet long. It's a very big ship. And as you know, the US has a blockade at the Strait of Hormuz, right? And this blockade is a big problem. I'll tell you why later, but this blockade basically checks all the ships that are going and coming from Iran, which is big, right? And this ship was going to Iran. So the blockade, which was at this point in front or at the Gulf of Oman, saw the ship. And apparently there was a Navy ship called USS Spruance that told the cargo ship to stop, but the cargo ship didn't listen. And they kept telling them to stop for apparently 6 hours, and they were ignored, and the ship just continued going. So what did the US do? Well, they shot at the ship, but they didn't shoot the actual ship or the passengers or anyone there. They actually shot at the engine so that the ship would stop moving. So they shot at the engine, and then US Navy went on the ship and then took control of it. So now that cargo ship, the Tosca ship, is in the hands of the US, which is big because that's an Iranian ship. Like, why should the US take control of it? And that's what Iran has been saying. Iran was like, well, this is piracy. You're literally pirates. And Iran said that the US attacked and stole Iran's ship illegally. Plus, they said that this attack basically breaks the ceasefire. So they said that the US did break the ceasefire. The US, on the other hand, was like, no, we didn't break the ceasefire. There was a ship that was going through the blockade. The ship did not stop for the inspection because they wanted the ship to stop for inspection. And apparently, this ship was also on the sanction list. And what does that mean? Well, for a ship to be on a sanction list means that this ship has been going through some illegal activity. So the US was like, okay, this ship has been doing some illegal stuff before, so let's inspect that ship. But the ship didn't want to stop for inspection, and the US said that they did warn them for 6 hours and the ship did not stop, and because of that, they had to stop them forcefully. But in the end, they did take control of the ship. I don't know why, but they did take control of it. But the big problem about all of that is that the US and Iran were supposed to go to Pakistan to have a second round of negotiations. Because remember last week they had some negotiations together and they did not go well at all, right? So this week they were supposed to go again and negotiate more, maybe make a deal, maybe finally peace. But apparently now Iran is like, we are not going to Pakistan. We're not going to negotiate because the blockade that the US has is illegal. And as long as that blockade is there, we're not gonna go and negotiate. But surprisingly, the US is saying that Iran is negotiating, which is weird because Iran came out again and was like, no, we're not negotiating. The US is lying. We are not negotiating. Those guys are lying. So it's weird, but as far as we're seeing right now, the US and Iran are not negotiating. The ceasefire, remember guys, it was a 2-week ceasefire. So technically, it should end by tomorrow. So if it ends, what's going to happen? Is the US just going to attack Iran again? Is Iran going to attack the Gulf countries again? Are we going to go back to the war? I don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like the peace talks are not happening. And you know what's weird, guys? In only 2 days, remember that Strait of Hormuz that everyone apparently now talks about? Well, in 2 days, the Strait of Hormuz was opened and then closed. Yeah, because 2 days ago, Iran was like, we're opening the Strait of Hormuz. And even Iran's foreign minister confirmed that. He was like, yep, we're opening the strait. And apparently Trump said thank you and everything was going well. Like oil prices fell, people felt more secure about the future. But then there was a small issue. And that issue was that the US still had its blockade in front of the Strait of Hormuz. Like the US did send its navy at the Strait of Hormuz and they were like, we're not going to remove the US Navy until we make a deal. But thing is, Iran opened the Strait of Hormuz, but the US did not remove their blockade. So Iran was like, you know what guys, you didn't remove your blockade, so in less than 24 hours later, the Strait of Hormuz that was open and everyone was happy about closed. And the problem is they closed that Strait of Hormuz in such a short time that there were some ships that were passing through that got attacked. For example, there were 2 Indian ships that were apparently going through the Strait of Hormuz, but those 2 ships got attacked by Iran, and apparently because of that attack, the ships had to go back and return. But the problem is that caused some tensions between India and Iran because apparently India called their ambassador, like their Iranian ambassador, and they were like, you have to like fix this, you have to let our vessels go through the Strait of Hormuz. So it was a big issue. Like Indian ships were attacked because the Strait of Hormuz just closed because it was open for less than 24 hours, which is crazy. But you know what's even weirder? It's that Trump wanted that Strait of Hormuz open for so long. Remember, he said, if Iran didn't open the Strait of Hormuz, I'm gonna attack their bridges, their like power plants, everything, right? Well, Iran finally opened the Strait of Hormuz, but for some reason there is US Navy there, for some weird reason. And Iran said, we're gonna open the Strait of Hormuz if you remove your Navy, but Trump said, no, we're not gonna remove our Navy. And the problem is, it looks like the threats are back, because apparently Trump today again threatened Iran. Because Trump posted this today, saying that Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. So Trump said that now Iran is the one that broke the ceasefire first. And he said that, I hope that they take the deal, like a reasonable deal. And if they don't, the US is going to knock every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. And he said that no more Mr. Nice Guy. I don't know when Mr. Nice Guy came, but apparently he called himself Mr. Nice Guy. But yeah, no more Mr. Nice Guy. And again, the threat with the power plants and the bridges is back. So what's gonna happen? Is he actually gonna attack the power plants? Because it's been a month since he said that he's gonna attack the power plants, and every single time he kind of delays it a little bit. And then there was the ceasefire, but now what? Is he gonna delay it? Is he actually gonna attack? Because remember, he said that he's going to attack the power plants, but Iran said if Trump attacks Iran's power plants, Iran is going to attack all of the power plants in the Middle East, technically in the Gulf. So it's going to be a mess in this whole area. And speaking of the whole area, by the way, you guys asked me what's up with the new background. I'm actually in Egypt. Yeah, I traveled like a week ago. Yeah, so I'm here. I'm in the area. So that would be very, very interesting to see what's gonna happen. But you know what, guys? We also know that we shouldn't really trust Trump's words. Like, he says something and then something else happens. And apparently it's not just us that shouldn't trust Trump's words, because apparently his military advisors also don't trust him. Because a report came out saying that military advisors kept Trump out of the Situation Room during the rescue mission. Remember the rescue mission when they were rescuing the pilot? Yeah, they kept Trump out of the room because they were worried about Trump's temperament. They were worried about basically his mental situation. So it's not just us that don't really have to trust Trump, because apparently his own team doesn't trust him. But as I told you, the ceasefire is going to be over soon. Iran did say that they're going to retaliate over the US taking control of their ship, and apparently they did start to send drones towards US military ships. So by the time this video would be posted, I don't even know what's gonna happen. Like, maybe the war would start again. I have no idea, but it's crazy, guys. But let's leave the whole situation with Iran and the US a little bit and go to China, because there's a crazy story also that happened today, because apparently a Chinese robot broke the human world record in a half marathon. Yeah, the world record. But what's the story? Well, apparently in China there's a half marathon that happens every year, and in that half marathon there are humans, obviously, but also robots. And apparently they did that last year. Robots also joined last year, but last year the robots were slow. They were not good, and apparently the fastest robot took 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 42 seconds. And that's very slow compared to humans. So people were like, no way robots are going to be fast this year. It's going to be the same thing as last year. Robots are going to be slow. It's just for fun, you know. Have some robots run to show like the technology and everything. And this year, the race started, and apparently right after the race started, one robot fell at the starting line and another robot bumped into the barrier. So people were like, look at those dumb robots, like they're gonna mess up again, they're gonna be slow. But then one robot, apparently, and that robot was built by a company called Honor, that robot apparently was fast, like really fast, that he finished the marathon in 50 minutes and 26 seconds. Yeah, I was stuttering a little bit because that's crazy. Like, the robot that finished the marathon last year was like only 2 hours and 40 minutes. And now it's 50 minutes and 26. And let me tell you how crazy is that, because the fastest human to run a half marathon at this distance took 57 minutes. Yeah, and that runner is named Jacob Kiplimo. Yeah, his fastest run is 57 minutes, and he's the fastest human ever. It was broken. The robot broke his record. And to be honest with you, at first when I heard robots joining a race, I was like, okay, we have cars, right? Cars can go faster. Like, you can just put wheels on a robot and that robot will go fast. But no, the robot had arms, had legs. It looked like a human, you know, like how they make robots look like humans for weird reasons. I don't know why they make robots look like humans, but they do. But this robot apparently had long legs, like 95 centimeters legs. So it was a very, very tall robot. And apparently it had a liquid cooling system to stay cool while running, because obviously robots don't have staminas, but they do heat up. So it had its own cooling system. It didn't care about stamina, and it finished the marathon in 50 minutes. So what's gonna happen to us? Like, now robots are beating us in races. They're beating like engineers. They're beating everything. What? Is that the future? Do we have to be nice to AI now? Anyway, in my opinion, that story is crazy. But you know what, guys? If World War III does happen, who knows? We might be seeing robots instead of humans, at least, in the war. It's gonna be like a robot war. So that I don't mind. I don't care to be seeing some bunch of robots like fighting each other. Yeah, that's cool. And whoever wins the war. Sure. Like, get the robots in the war, don't involve humans. That I'm cool with. That I don't really have a problem, right? So if they're gonna be using robots to attack other robots, cool. If the robots take over the world, not cool. That's gonna be a problem. And anyway, guys, that's all for today. And again, if you have any stories that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. I love you all, and I will see you next time.